stopped cursing a minute ago. I just want to talk to you guys about, how that's been and what's happened since then, and like how I even got to the point where I stopped cursing, and when did I even start cursing, and how do I feel, not cursing no more. Let's see. All right, y'all. Oh, I feel like this is cool. All right, y'all, so it's currently 4:56 in the morning. I'm literally about to head out, and I'm about to go on set for a TV show called Chat Powers. I'm a football player on the show, basically just like a background character, things like that. Like we had like a tryouts a minute ago, so last year. Basically, we tried out, went through a combine, you had to basically like run a 40, all this other stuff. And you basically get selected if you perform well, and you can basically be a football player on a TV show. And usually people that, try it out, had some prior football experience. People either play in the NFL, whatever the case, it doesn't matter. But it kind of does matter, you know what I'm saying? Because I want to talk to you guys about me. In my journey, it was just like not, I don't curse no more. I stopped cursing a minute ago. I just want to talk to you guys about, how that's been and what's happened since then, and like how I even got to the point where I stopped cursing, and when did I even start cursing, and how do I feel, not cursing no more. So first and foremost, I used to curse a lot. Funny enough, if my mom is seeing this, I don't know if my dad will see this video. Whoever see this video, if you thought I never cursed, I used to curse a lot. Especially I feel like, kind of started at a younger age because, to be honest, I feel like everybody has those big cousins or, or whoever the case is. You kind of you think, everybody think, the big cousin cool, everybody think they're cool. And then, growing up, I played football, so I was around football players, and, locker room talk is one of those things where it can get dirty. You know what I'm saying? It can get really dirty, and, be cursing in there, whatever. And then also, the people that I was hanging around when I was younger, they used to curse. And I also kind of used to think that it was funny to curse. I'm not gonna lie. I think low-key just felt like it makes you funnier when you curse. And low-key, I think that was just me trying to fit in. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Because low-key as a kid, I low-key felt like I never fit in for real in a certain group. You know what I'm saying? I just kind of was like a floater. You know what I'm saying? I was with the popular kids, with the band kids. I played football. I played in band. I did a lot of things. So I was around a lot of different groups of people. And I think for me, me just being who I am, I feel like I'm a very personable person. Or I'm a very, what's it called? Yeah, very personable person. I like talking to people, things like that. But I also just was kind of trying to fit in, you know what I'm saying? Because low key, I grew up in the cult, made me feel like a freaking oddball. It was weird. So when I was in public school, I was always in public school. But when I was in school and, being around these different kids and everybody's kind of whatever, I feel like cursing kind of just helped me fit in. And it just kind of allowed me to kind of, not feel as odd or feel out of place. So started cursing probably when I was I would say kind of going in middle school, towards the end of middle school, or even kind of middle of middle school too. 7th grade, started playing football, in the locker rooms, And yeah, everybody just saying crazy stuff, what they want to say, talking about this girl, talking about that, what they finna do, whoop. Everybody's, it's just the reality. Everybody's just saying stuff and talking in certain ways. So I knew that I never heard my parents talk like that really. My brother and sister didn't talk like that either. And nobody talked like that. Nobody that I actually know talked like that. So for me, it was one of those things where I kind of just wanted to, again, fit in. I wanted to, just kind of fit in with the team. I started cursing then, So I started at a young age, and it just kind of built up. Middle school was cursing, high school was cursing. And it just made me feel like I actually had a space to fit in. Then I got to college. College was interesting because college, I was still cursing, but I kind of was, beginning to take my walk with God a little more seriously. So I kind of started stepping back from it, but then I still wanted to fit in. I'm gonna be honest. And I was already fitting in, which I didn't, looking back on it, realize, and then even in the moments, I realized I already was fitting in. I was already finding my people, people already gravitating towards me. You know what I mean? I didn't really need to curse to be liked or whatever the case is. And I realized that. So I got to my sophomore, junior year, kind of started realizing it just don't fit me either. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't fit who I am. It doesn't fit how I walk or how I act. It just doesn't look right for me. So I started having that internal conflict of why am I cursing? You know what I mean? Why do I feel like I need to be cursing? This is not how I was raised. All these different things are going through my head. And then another thing is too, I think where a lot of people talk about this, where it's people who curse are kind of you can be seen as a little bit either less intelligent intelligent or you just don't have, you know, a vast vocabulary. You know what I'm saying? And for me, I'm not gonna lie, I took school very seriously. I took education seriously. I took, you know, just feeling smart or just like having words to use in all different types of situations. And, you know, for me, kind of just realizing like, man, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not dumb. Like, let's not get it twisted. I'm not dumb. And I was like, so me cursing a lot just kind of gave you a certain look. And I just was like, I want that look. And it's not to say that I looked at everybody else who curses as less intelligent. I just heard about that and I was like, it just made me start thinking like, do people think I'm less intelligent? You know what I'm saying? Do people think, you know what I mean? So I'm just thinking like, okay. And then on top of it, like I said, I just didn't feel comfortable cursing no more. And I realized it just was like, I don't know, like it's just not for me. I'm not gonna lie. I can't do it. Like, I was just realizing, like, this is not me. Like, it just looks weird when I curse. I sound too proper. It was just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just didn't like it at all. So, eventually, I think it's like my junior year. And again, like, I took school seriously. I didn't want to, you know, I didn't want to feel like, you know, especially talking to professors or professor hears me, you know, talking a certain way with my peer. I don't know, just different things. And then especially, not only that, me knowing that I was going to get into the workforce. So, kind of just all these things encompassed, right? You know, my beliefs, my, you know, viewpoints on just like how maybe I'm being perceived by like people that I consider like, you know, authorities, like professional space, all this stuff, start thinking about. And I just realized, you know what I'm saying? I was just like, man, like I don't want to like be just doing like just talking like this at all anymore. So I realized I was like, man, I do not want to talk like this at all anymore. So I really had to start like just monitoring like myself in terms of even just like text messages and group chats and like just everything like communication wise with my friends and people I was hanging around. Kind of started watching who I was hanging around, and then I just kind of realized like, man, I don't like this ain't even me. Then again, I didn't judge people who were cursing that are still my friends, whatever the case is. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I always say. I don't freaking care if you curse. It's just not for me, you know what I'm saying? And I never made nobody around me feel uncomfortable if they curse. If you curse, you curse. I'm not looking at you like you're less intelligent. I took it for myself and I was like, why am I cursing? Like, what do I gain? Like a couple more laughs, fit in, like cool, but it's like, the reality, bro, it's like, it just wasn't me. And I don't think God was calling me. I just know that's not who God called me to be. Somebody who's just like, you know, cursing like that. So I just realized, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna curse no more. Eventually, like, you know what I'm saying, I graduated college early and I got into the workforce and I immediately was in the corporate world. You know, obviously, funny thing is, they actually do curse in the corporate world, but, you know, it's in certain, like, spaces you can do it. But for me, it already helped me a lot. Me, like, already cutting out cursing before going to the corporate world, before going to the big boy jobs that I'm in now, it's already helped me a lot in just how I speak and how I enunciate things, right? And just kind of how I carry myself in general, how people perceive me. I remember literally going through an interview process before a position, not the one I'm at now, but the position that I was interviewing for. And kid you not, like, you know, so I'm going through all these rounds and they literally come back to me and say, you talk so well, you're so polished, you just sound so very educated, like all these different things, like you just sound like you just really put together. And I'm not gonna lie, it helps because, you know what I'm saying, just how I talk. I don't curse no more. So I was able to just like focus on like, you know, using vocabulary or maybe, you know, not always using filler words, just really just taking my time to speak and just understanding how to, you know, come across to different people and just realizing like, man, like, you know, it actually paid off. And it made me just kind of, you know, put me in some good positions. You know what I'm saying? I worked with NFL teams now, NBA teams. I worked in the sports world. I've done a lot of things that I'm really blessed and honored to have been in. And I think a part of it literally comes from the fact that I stopped cursing. And I think, you know, being able to just say like my career is moving in a certain way, even my channel here, you know, me talking to you guys, I think a lot of it is in part too because of like how I communicate, how I present myself to the people who see me, you know what I'm saying? Like you guys and my family, my friends, my coworkers, peers, all that, it all matters, I feel like at the end of the day. And I think it's just, you know, it's been paying off, man. I would say I think it's paying off. And I feel like that's just kind of like, that's what's been happening now. You know, now that I've stopped cursing, I don't curse like that no more. Only time you may hear me curse, I feel like, is if I'm really like, we real tight, my boys and them, I may say something a little slight, goofy, but even then, I just don't always, it's just, why? I don't need to. I don't need to curse. I don't need to. So I even watch myself there, like using the N-word, stuff like that. It's just like, I just don't do it personally. Yeah, and you know, so I'm really about to leave here, about to get in the car, about to go drive. But I go drive to get on set for a TV show. But the reason why I mentioned the TV show is because like I know I'm finna be in a space where there's a lot of dudes who used to play football. And I already did this TV show last year. I did season 1 of Chat Powers already. And I remember being inside the locker rooms, you know what I'm saying, with the guys. And like we all used to play football. And I'm telling you, it didn't change. Oh, it's so interesting, bro. I ain't gonna lie. But yes, like, you know, they saying all types of stuff in the locker room. Things is just weird sometimes, bro. I be like, dude, what are we talking about? And, you know what I'm saying, they're saying things and just speaking a certain way that I just have to remind myself, like, I don't need to fit in with y'all. Like, you know, so I'm here, respectfully, I'm doing my job, and I go home. Like, I don't have to fit in with nobody. I just want to be who God called me to be. And I think that is what makes you you. Because if, you know what I'm saying, I know it's just, if it's not for me, and that's not how I carry myself, I'm not going to fake it just to fit in and be cool with y'all. So anyways, but yeah, I just wanted to get this out there just because I feel like it's something I just realized. I'm like, I don't know, it was not easy, like, to stop cursing, but eventually got to the point where I did stop cursing, and it did become easy because it became a habit where I realized, like, okay, when I text people, I'm not gonna be saying this, or when I say this, like, even LMAO, sometimes I'm like, somebody can see that as strict, whatever, but sometimes I don't, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes that makes it LMAO, I don't know. But the point is like, I really started watching every way that I communicate. I never was the type of person to use hand gestures to, like, curse or flick people off or anything like that. So that wasn't really an issue. But yeah, when it came to just texting people or just, like, you know, how I talk to people in person, all these different things like that, yeah, I just realized, I was like, you know, this ain't for me. Like, it's just not for me. So, but yeah, it became a habit, and I don't curse anymore. I don't curse. Like, this ain't for me. I don't know. If you curse, you know what I'm saying, you just curse. I don't know what else to say. But yeah, if you curse, you just curse. And it's like, I'm not here to say, like, you know, forcing, like, hey, if you curse, you're this and that. I just know that the Bible does speak on certain things about, you know what I'm saying, watching what you say, watching what comes out of your mouth, because, you know what I'm saying, your words can bring life, but your words can also bring death. So it's just like, why do I want to, like, let curse words, like, literally cursing, like, I'm cursing myself, or cursing things around me, cursing my environment, or whatever the case is, and why would I want to do that? You know, so I don't want to do that. So anyways, that's my viewpoints on me not cursing no more. And yeah, I stopped cursing. I feel like life has been great, and I feel like it has helped me, like I said, in a lot of ways by me stop cursing. You know what I'm saying? Just because of the way I communicate, it's put me in some good positions, and I feel like it allows me to truly be myself too. So, but yeah, let me go ahead and get out of here. If they're gonna set, literally, it's already 5:11. They start serving breakfast at like 5:42. The call time is 6 o'clock, so we're gonna be pretty early, which is good. We want to be there early. But anyways, I love y'all. Obviously, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your viewpoints on cursing. Do y'all think it's a sin? Do y'all think cursing is a sin? Or do you just think, you know what I'm saying, who gets a freak? You know what I'm saying? Imagine I just cursed just then. Y'all would be like, bro, this whole video is a cap. This man just literally dropped the F-bomb. Nah, but yeah, some of y'all might be like, bro, who cares, bro? Just curse, it don't matter. Let me know. I really actually am curious, like, what do y'all think? Do y'all think cursing is, like, that bad? You know what I'm saying? Do you think it's, like, you know, one of those things where it's like, is it almost, you know, blown up bigger than what it needs to be? Is it, like, you know what I'm saying? Personally, again, I think that, you know, if you can, the way you present yourself matters. And if you can control it, and, you know, so you have control over certain things like your mouth and how you talk to people. I feel like if you can, you know, come off a certain way to, you know what I'm saying, respectfully, you know, be in certain places, whatever the case is, especially as a young black man, like, you know what I'm saying, I feel like it does speak volumes. You know what I'm saying? I sound educated, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't sound white, I sound educated, and I carry myself in a certain way for a reason. So anyways, that's pretty much it. I love y'all. Again, like, comment something how you feel about this topic. But yeah, I'm just, you know, again, I'm only on here to share my thoughts and my experiences and things that I'd be, like, I guess, going through or thinking about. But yeah, love y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. But yeah, stay blessed. And wish me luck today, because I hope they ain't tripping today, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie.